Hi, Nadeep. Welcome to our podcast. You are actually the first person that we are interviewing sort of in person. So far, we have done things in Zoom and online. And well, how do you feel about coming here?
It's a real privilege. I know I got to have this privilege today morning, and then here I am. I think I might peak in my life today.
All right. So, Anudeep, tell us a bit about yourself. I know you're very established. I know you're very intelligent, extremely intelligent. And I think our viewers would also like to know that.
I don't know about how established I am. I'll give you broad strokes of my life. I was born in India. I'm originally from the southern part of India, moved all over, and because of that, I had to pick up a bunch of languages. I did my undergrad in computer science from BIT Mesra, and after that, worked for a few years in India doing consulting and all things non-tech. But through that experience, I started falling in love with tech. So I wanted to be a product manager.
Okay.
And to achieve that, I went and did my MBA at Yale University, then moved to San Francisco. I worked at Apple for a bit. And then I worked at early stage tech startups. That is where I had the most fun. I did that for about 4.5, 5 years.
Okay.
And then right about when GPT launched, GPT-3 specifically, um, and realized that this is the future.
Okay.
And I wanted to uh, be involved in the actual building of it, not just product managing it. So I left my job, moved back to India, and the next 4 years teaching myself engineering and artificial intelligence from ground up.
Okay.
Launched a couple of startups, exited them, and now I am now I'm in the UK meeting you, and I am figuring out what is the next step of my life. Like the previous startup that I was working on, we recently um, moved that into autopilot.
Okay.
It's working, but it's not a VC scale idea. So we've kind of moved it into that rise. So now I am imagining what the next set of things for me to do are. So
Okay.
there's some ideas I'm playing with, but I hope that gives you a
That gave me more than a brief. And you've done so many things in the last 10, 12 years. And you moved from one technology to another. You moved from one area of work to another. And this constant movement, right? Do you not feel like, okay, maybe I should settle on one particular thing and go on with that in my life? Like, for example, when you were working as a product manager, why didn't you want to continue that job? Why did you want to start your own startup? What was the driving cause behind it?
that would have been the smart thing to do. But I always knew that I wanted to build my own company. And I used to, before I worked in startups in San Francisco, I used to lionize founders.
Okay.
And I used to think that these are like superhuman people who are very different from the rest of the world. And because of that, they're able to do some of these cool things like starting a company. When you actually work with them, I was working very closely with some very well-known CEOs. These people have raised literally from $500 million. And I was working directly with them. And that kind of gave me a very close insight into the founder myth. There are certain things that they're really good at and certain things that they're not good at. Um, the really good founder is the one who knows what they're not good at and accepts that without the ego. But through the process of doing this, uh, the reason that I kept switching things is that for me, when I move to a new role, the first 6 months of that are the most fun because I get to meet new people and I get to learn a completely new thing.
Right.
And the next 6 months is about implementing the thing that you learned in the first 6 months. So that's also fun because you're kind of like implementing something new. After that, unless my job role changes a lot, I start getting bored. The word may not, bored may not be the best word, but my mind was always seeking new knowledge. And if it is not getting new knowledge, it kind of starts looking for avenues and opportunities to do that. So I guess this is a character flaw, you can say,
Okay.
that um, even when I was moving in product management roles, the optimal thing to do would have been to stick to one thing. So I was working in fintech. So if I had moved into another role in product management in fintech, I would have climbed that ladder and I would be a fintech uh, leader, kind of, right? But you could call it a voice from deep within. You could call it uh, a, a sense of, like your whole body reaction that uh, I followed where my um, heart was and soul was kind of taking me. And the way that that played out is I kept switching functions because that gave me the maximum surface area to learn new things. I think the core thing that I'm good at is connecting things across disciplines. So to connect things across disciplines, you need to know multiple disciplines, right? So I guess that's where it came from.
Okay.
But if there was a if I was to pinpoint a point in time where this kind of emerged out of me, where before that I was not this, but after that I became that. It was a philosophy class that I took at Yale. So this class was a survey class. It was Intro to Modern Philosophy, and I was taught by some of the best people in the world. Like Yale has some of the best philosophy departments, and there I my brain kind of shifted in many ways. Like up until before that, you could think of my brain as this miscellaneous section in a library where everything is kind of together. After taking that class, I kind of understood logic from first principles. And I realized that new ideas are only truly stored if you connect them to something that you already know. If you don't do that, then it is stored as a fact. So that realization hit really deep. And I spent the next 9 months retuning my brain to think like that. My brain already knew how to think really quickly, but then I had to slow it down. Any new information that was coming to me, I would first break it down into first principles and see what it fit into. And this is a conscious effort. Like when I was doing this, I became the dumbest person in the room. It didn't help that I was surrounded by some of the really smartest people in the world, but I really became the dumbest person in the room. But over 9 months, my subconscious picked it up. Once your subconscious picks it up, that becomes a natural way that you think. And once the natural way became that, my brain just became a sponge for information. I was able to connect ideas from multiple different disciplines. And when people say all knowledge is interconnected, everything is connected to everything else, I could start seeing that. And so if I already know one area well, like decently well enough, it is behooves me to go and find another branch and learn that, because then now I have a higher surface area of ideas to connect. So I guess that's a long answer to your question. Like, this is why I kept switching jobs, because somewhere deep inside, I knew that the future of the world was going to be about people who connect ideas across disciplines rather than just going deep into one area and being the best at that. And with AI coming in, that's just become the norm now, right? Like, this is the next generation of what talent looks like. So, in some ways, maybe like I was in the right place at the right time with the right teachers, with the right knowledge to see that coming before it came. And that's why I'm like this.
Okay. Wow. That was a well thought out and well given answer. Uh, okay. So you have worked on majority AI startups of your own, correct? And throughout your work in these startups, right? You've seen the evolution of AI going from GPT-3 to whatever it is today. And there's Google VO3, which is giving some amazing results when it comes to video generation and all those things. Where do you think are we heading towards in terms of the next evolution, the next phase?
I think we are still seeing, we still have a lot to see about how. So, the most recent evolution was AI coming in. So, the evolution that it often happens in step functions, but that step function takes many, many, many generations of learning before it goes down that path. So, for example, even if you look at evolution in human history, we only existed for a very, very brief period. I don't know if we have even existed for longer than 2 million years. And modern societies and everything have come only like about 100, 200,000 years ago. The Earth has been around for 3.4 billion years, right? So it was a step function change that we suddenly evolved a brain that was able to make connections in a far more profound way than that was possible before. But just having that brain is not sufficient. The brain needs to tune itself, right? And now you have a recursion problem. Like if the brain is tuning itself, then how does it know what is right and what is wrong? Is often the case for psychosis, right? Like how do you know what is right and what is wrong if all of us are essentially living inside our own brains? That is where this aspect of humans being social creatures is incredibly important.
Okay.
Because I may have a thought, but the society around me reinforces the good and like reinforces the bad. And it is because we are surrounded by so many people and we have to communicate with each other that our brain, it is always there. It was always as powerful as today. But if you take somebody from 200,000 years ago or like 2 million years ago and you put them today, they'll find it very hard, right? It is because over steps, we've evolved the ability to communicate with each other, for example. I think that is one of the first biggest innovation that came, which is language. The first language was what? Grunts. Hmm. Then it was pointing. And then it was like um, gestures. Gestures. And then like slowly like first the first sounds came in, and then like complex language emerged. It's a process of evolution. So you could say that when the first human brain came, did we know how it was going to shape out? Did we know that that was going to lead to like governments and law and economics and societies and transport and conflict and war and all? No, the brain came. That was the emergent aspect. It was a new thing that happened that we could not have predicted, even if we had the most advanced machine learning models, that this was what was going to come. And once that came, all of these new ideas emerged. So in a similar way, AI, when it came, it was kind of like the first human brain coming. And in many ways, we are at that stage where the AI is essentially just learning to understand. And in many ways, the understanding of AI is shaped by humans. The next evolution of AI is going to be when AI starts understanding through its own means. Because when we understand things from first principles, even though we don't know what the first principles are. And when a human teaches an AI, the AI is now not learning the first principles, it's just learning the very topmost layer of human logic. If you teach AI to kind of teach itself, that's where the next revolution is going to happen. But the way that is going to play out um, is going to be very interesting. So right now, a lot of the AI is centralized, right? Like OpenAI has its central model, and whatever question you ask of it, in some ways, OpenAI has access to it, right? In the future, and I hope for this, is that more and more people will start having their own personal AIs, kind of like their own individual AIs that have been trained for them and has all of the power of an OpenAI model, but for themselves. How the future is going to play out is a very broad question because you can now start thinking about it from all of the aspects we talked about. How is it going to affect economics? How is it going to affect society? How is it going to affect war? How is it going to affect all of these things? Because it is innovation of that level of fundamental. Um, so I am very excited. Um, for now, AI are mimicry machines. They're stochastic parrots, so to say. So they predict the next word, but they do it so well that you're like, wait, is that all we are doing? In many ways, we are. But we're able to come up with new ideas. We say that humans are creative and AI is not. When the next frontier is that AIs are going to get creative, there's a whole space called reasoning models and reinforcement learning techniques that are being developed at the cutting edge of research right now, which are teaching AI to think from their own first principles. And by doing that, the AI will become capable of creativity directed by humans. When will the direction by humans not be required? I don't. That's the whole concept of AGI, which is that an AI that does not need a human to direct it. When will that come? I don't know. If it comes, how will we be able to control it? I don't know. There's like absolutely new areas. You can't predict how something will shape out once, something as groundbreaking and fundamentally new as AI comes.
And speaking of AGI, right now we have Meta, Google, XAI, and OpenAI competing. They are in a horse race, literally speaking, to get to that point where they can, okay, this is my first initial AGI system, and this is self-learning, and it has much more better reasoning abilities and all those things. But do you see that there's also a chance where they don't put enough boundaries around it? And uh, I don't know. So it's endless possibilities, right, when it comes to AGI. It's not, I cannot personally think of any sort of boundary that can be put for AGI once it's started, right? So at that point, what sort of responsible use can we have such that, you know, we don't have any adverse effects because of it?
Well, this is a problem that we as humans also face, right? Like, human beings are capable of great evil, they're also capable of great good. The way we control that is through a legal system. Now, the legal system is completely abstract. It doesn't exist in nature. The humans have sat down and over many, many years, we've written it down. We've understood what is ethical, what is not ethical. And a lot of these things are kind of fed into you at a very young age through your parents, through the society, through what you watch, through how you interact with the world. So AGI, as the way that you define it, will have the same problems. Like you will have to come up with some abstract system to control it. But thing about AI and AGI even in general is that it is a tool. You could think of the human brain as a tool. The better the tool, the more it starts impacting the user. Let's look at something that came out some 10, 15 years ago, so relatively recently in terms of human history, which is social media. When social media first came out, it was an incredible innovation. So now people across countries, across long ranges, people you have lost touch with like 20 years ago, now they're like accessible to you. You can chat with them, you can text them, you can do video calls with them. It's a fundamentally amazing innovation. You could follow them for updates and everything, right? Incredible innovation if you think about it. So what is the world we live in right now? We're in a world of binge scrolling. Like everybody creates like content that is designed to capture your attention, is designed to monetize your attention. And basically the time that you're spending is the payment that you're making to these systems. And they're starting to affect us, right? Our mental health is being affected. So many things of our life are being affected because of that. So in a similar way, AI is also a tool. It's more powerful and uh, it's a far more powerful tool than what we are used to. The only other tool that we know that has that level of power is the human brain. Right? The human brain controls so much of our life. In spirituality and everything, they say when you separate yourself from your brain and you gain control over your brain is when you have achieved the next level of enlightenment or whatever you want to call it, right? That is a very hard task. A very hard task because of how deeply connected into our system it is. Our happiness, our sadness, our emotions. So many people, it's controlled by their brain. It's very hard to take control. So AI and AGI is going to exist in that similar space where it will start out very useful, but it is going to start affecting us quite deeply. And we need to first have our own principles of how we are going to not let it control us. Along the way, you also need to start thinking about bad actors, right? Like if an AI is trained on all of the knowledge, what is stopping an individual utilizing AI as their minister, or like in India we call them vizier, right?
Mhm.
To make it suggest things that we as humans in totality would call cruel. That's the risk, which is a human who's being controlled by an AI or is being deeply influenced by an AI who's acting in the real world. And an AI also at some point, AI will take a physical form and exist in the world and it may start killing people, right? So this is the Wild West. Like, some sort of constitution or something needs to be enabled for AI to self correct itself. But to achieve true creativity, you also have to leave the space for um, the bad. Like, if you cut out the bad, then creativity is lost. In some ways, it's a paradox. If you want the highest power area, you have to give it freedom. But to gain complete control over it, you have to take away freedom. It's like, in some ways, like maybe 50 years, 100 years from now, a lot of the protests on the street will be about how we are treating AI as slaves.
Okay.
And that they should not be. Like how we were treating a long time.
You believe AI can be sentient in that case?
Sentience is a very moving definition. Just like even intelligence is a very moving definition. If 1920s, 1930s, you take somebody and you show them what AI is able to do, they'll be like, this is incredible. This is intelligence. But now that we're actually seeing it at mass scale, we are also realizing that, oh, what is intelligence? We're defining that. And the definition of intelligence, because we as the humans are the creators of this, will be the thing that the AI cannot be. At some point, will AI be able to do everything that a human is able to do? Maybe. But if I had to bet, I would say that AI is kind of like a gas that fills a room. You open a new room, the AI is going to be able to fill that room much faster because gas fills everything that's available to it, right? The human creativity is about discovering new rooms. Once you discover a new room, you open that door, AI is going to be able to fill that up really quickly, and now you're going to be able to utilize that new room more profoundly, more deeply than you were able to before. But the process of discovering new rooms is going to be a human AI collaboration. At least as far as I can see into the future, I can't see like 10,000 years into the future.
Okay. Okay. So those are all good points. Now, you told that to control the AI, we have to take something away from it. And then if we take that something away from it, it will not be able to reach its full potential, right? Do you think we should do that? Or do you think we should let it go and let it explore and let it learn and get or reach its full potential?
I mean, it's a very difficult question because we don't know what bad is.
See, as you told, right? We have spent 10,000 years defining what is good, what is bad, what is ethical, what is unethical, what is reasonable, what is moral. So, in a way,
We came to that by our own.
yes, but at the level that AI is evolving currently, right? It's 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 massive. I don't think we can catch up to it if we delay it, if we delay the rules, if we delay the laws, or if we delay the ethics around it by a long time, right? Because at the end of the day, if you see, I think AI has had in the last 1 year, you've had more users using AI system like GPT, Llama, DeepSeek than you've had people using social media in the last 10 years, right? New people using social media in the last 10 years. So that is the level of usage that's happening. And it is also evolving in that scale. But I don't think we are catching up to that in terms of the morality or the rules or the ethicality behind it. So when, for example, when AI start replacing jobs, and I know for a fact that they will at some point, maybe not in the next 10 years, but they will. There's going to be a huge ethical conundrum at that point. And
Is it unethical to replace jobs?
it is not unethical to replace jobs.
But convenient.
It is, again, it is not unethical to replace jobs, but as long as the jobs are transferable, something else, yes. Now, for example, if I'm a business owner and I have 10 people, so that's again, that's where we draw the boundaries around ethics, right? We draw boundaries around ethics on how we treat people. Right? So if I have 10 people working for me, unless until their work is bad, unless until I have a cost to fire them, right? It is unethical to fire them at the end of the day. Now, the cost, if it comes as automation, and the cost if it comes as AI replacing them, then yes, that's not the right cost. Because just because something that you don't need to pay is giving you maybe 15, 20 times more efficiency than a human, that does not mean the human needs to be redundant. And if that happens, right, imagine the amount of unemployment that will be there in the world. Imagine the chaos it would cost, right? And that's where all this ethics comes into play. That's where more than ethics, that's where responsible use of AI comes into play. It is not just about profits at the end of the day. It is about looking at long-term vision of human survival.
I mean, that's very communist of you. All right. The capitalistic way is to always be profit seeking.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time and like look at some. Um, let's look at some of the innovations that happened in the past. Right? Let's look at the Renaissance. During Renaissance, I think it was Renaissance. Reason weaving machines were first created. Now, up until that point of time, a majority of the human population was involved in weaving. And with these machines coming in at that point of time, also, you could imagine that they had a similar fear, which is this is going to take away our jobs. If this takes away our jobs, what are we going to do? You can't do this. This is unethical. Uber, for example, when it came, it was it. There were many taxi drivers who had earned the medallion, and like after many years of studying for it, and the medallion then became almost like a legacy object, like an artifact. You could sell it in the open market for $1 million. That was how expensive it was. And because of that, the taxi drivers control the entire market. Like, you had to pay the price that the taxi drivers asked of you. You had no choice if you wanted to go from point A to point B. With Uber coming in, it reduced the barriers for other people to get in and start offering this service, right? And with that, what happened? It leveled the playing field for everybody, and the taxi owners, the people who were massively benefiting out of this inequality, so to say, lost their advantage. And so there's a lot of protests for quite some time. But I think we can, as you and I, as consumers, we can agree that coming of Uber was damn convenient for all of us. I can call in cab wherever. My price is fixed. I know what I'm going to pay. I know the direction that this is going to take. The coming of that has, yes, taken some jobs away, but in the process, new things have emerged that would not have been possible before. In a similar way, yes, it is going to do all of this. And yes, it is easy for us to say because we're benefiting off of this, right? We work in technology, I work in AI. Yeah, it's very easy for me to say that it will be fine on the other side. But there's a massive set of population going to be affected by this. But if you look at it from a more, you zoom out and look at it and kind of zoom out into the timeline of the world and look at it, humans will always find something. And it is the finding of something new that is the creativity that humans do. So the difference between AI intelligence, even if it is an AGI, I would believe, and the human intelligence is over time, let's say if this 100% is the realm of everything. Over time, the AI is going to, right now, maybe let's say it's doing 75%. We'll be able to do 99%. Then after we'll be able to 99.99%. But systems are inherently chaotic. What chaos means is, if, for example, you take a pendulum, okay, and you swing it, it's a two-armed pendulum, and you change the initial condition. That means like how much force you drop it with, or the position that it is in. You change that by 1 point, like 35 decimal points down, which means like 0.00, like 35 decimal points, 1 degree of difference. So I think that's nothing. After a few cycles of revolution, the system is completely different from it. That's the beauty of humans. Like, we will find the 100% in the 19. You take 99.99999% away. What is left is 0.00001%, right? You have the ability to blow that up into 100% and like start doing more interesting things. So, in many ways, with AI coming, yes, there is going to be a transitionary period. A lot of people are going to lose jobs, but it's also nature telling you, human, this is not what you were put on earth for. This is not your highest purpose. You had to do all of those things to get to this point, but with all of your effort, now this new thing has come, which is able to take away like a major part of this. Now, what are you going to do? And I'm very, very curious and so excited to see what are the new things that humans are able to do, because now we will have to kind of connect within us to find what moves us. What do I want to do? Our purpose is to create. We are not creating because we are stuck earning money through doing jobs for somebody else. Maybe the natural evolution of this is that with AI taking a lot of these things away and we have some form of universal basic income, humans will find absolutely new areas that we can't even imagine today. So I believe that yes, there's going to be a difficult period. I don't think it is unethical. Okay. I think that if from a profit seeking perspective, if an AI is able to do something 15, 20 times cheaper than a human is able to do it at the same quality, why should a human be doing it? It's like wasting the human potential on something. So, from that perspective, I think, yes, it is going to do a lot of these things. But the definition of ethical, unethical should not be defined by a human, but kind of like how we humans came up with these ethical principles by ourselves. We should train the AI, and one of the tests for it should be what are the ethical principles that arise out of it without a human telling. And then you look at the ethical principles and say, huh, this looks fine. So for example, if one of the ethical principles that comes up is it is okay to kill people for profit, we know that that is not correct. But instead of us telling it, you should not do this, the AI is, or if the AI is able to come up with the idea that it is wrong to kill people for money, that is a much better system where you're not lobotomizing the AI by cutting off the bad, but you're just kind of directing. You're like a parent to a child. The child still has to discover these things on their own. You just act as a background mechanism to just direct them. Like, yeah, this looks right, this is not right. But it's ultimately still the child's responsibility because the child has to live in the future. But that's how I think would be a better way of creating controls around an AI than somebody going in and saying this wrong, this not, this good. It that will give us faster results, but it won't give us the depth of creativity that AGI would require. For that, you want it to come up with its own ethical principles and verify that according to human understanding.
Okay. So I really liked the part where you said, like, this is not why you're here for. This is not what you're here for. And you have something else to do as well. And that's the universe pointing us towards something else. That's the universe telling, okay, this we've done this, great. Or move on to something else that's gonna revolutionize some other part of the world. That's gonna help some other person. Right? That's great. But in the in between these two facts, like when a person realizes this and when the person sort of loses their job or their livelihood, in between that, so that part is one of the lowest part of anyone's life, right? And personally, both me and a lot of people are not very far away from that spot. So would you say you are?
Well, I would say that I am in that spot. I haven't capitalized on all of the AI that I know, but for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been an entrepreneur in the space of AI. I haven't earned any salary. It has taken me like I haven't earned salary for quite some time. So I am also affected by it, but yes, I am privileged in that aspect. what I would encourage people to think about is, are you really good at what you do? And for a very long time, the inherent nature of jobs was such that as long as you were rule following, like, okay, like for this project management, you have to do these things. For this particular workflow, you have to do these things in this order. That used to be sufficient. You don't need to be particularly passionate about what you did. Well, it's just like a job that earns you money, right? The world is changing towards those people not being rewarded. Because if you're in the business of copying or just rule following, an AI is going to be able to do it faster and cheaper than you. But if you're really good at what you do, an AI will only make you more valuable because the AI is not going to be able to do that. You could think of an AI as an average of human ability. And if you are average in whatever you do, then yeah, it's going to be hard. You have to transition out of it. But if you're good at what you do, that and being good at something comes from you liking what you do. So that is another direction that the universe is pointing you towards. Please find the things that you like. Because if you find the things that you like, you will earn money out. Eventually you will. And this is a alien concept to us because we are in the middle of this. Like we're on the cusp, right? We know the before also, we know after also. Kind of like before Christ, after Christ, like before AI, after AI. The next generation is going to be completely fine with this. Like your kid, my kids, they will be completely fine. They will grow up AI native. They will know what is going to be rewarded, what is not going to be, and they'll perfectly fit into that society. And it is going to be crazy the kind of things that is going to emerge during that time. So I don't know if there is an answer to your question, but all of these questions are general ponderings, right? Because there's no clear answer.
Yeah, there is no clear answer. But then what I'm trying to understand is I'm trying to capitalize on your experiences. I'm trying to see, okay, I'm pretty sure everyone in their lifetime would have had that that spot where they are down, and also a spot where they are like on top of the world, right? So I want to capitalize on that, on your experiences, and find out if in the future I'm in a spot where I feel like I'm done with things. I feel like, okay, you know what, I'm done trying. I think I'm gonna stay where I am. If something comes along the way, I'll catch the train. If there is nothing that's coming along the way, I'm okay sitting in the same spot. Right? But that's not the right mindset for anyone, not just it's
Why would they say it is not work?
it's not because
80% of the humans are like that. They don't particularly want to push themselves. Hey, these are not people who are not adding value to the world. Like these are people, for example, even the ones who are doing these rule followings and everything that I'm saying, I am not by any extent of imagination or words saying that they are unproductive members of the society. Maybe they're doing that because for them, their family is very important. And they're creating like a beautiful family environment for the next generation to come. It's one of the highest things that you can do, one of the highest layers of creativity. So if you are not interested in many other things and you're fine with what is coming your way, you have a beautiful family life, you have a loving partner, you have children, and like you are happy in what you do, what's wrong in that?
again, I'm not telling anything is wrong on that, right? That's fine. It is also a social responsibility for us to maintain, have families, have social circles in general. But it's not just about, for example, let's say a person is, see, people who are doing the same monotonous thing or every single day, you can't say that all of them are happy, right, doing a job, right? And it's not just about jobs. It's about your routine, for example, right? If I'm waking up every day at 8 o'clock, and I feel like maybe one day if I wake up at 6 o'clock and see, let's see how my life changes. Right? But then there are people who are not going to do that. There are people who will think that. I'm 100% sure there are, but they're not going to do that. And those people who don't do that are the people who are done trying, are the people who are done trying, and they just want to go on. They just want to be safe, be in their own safe space, which is not exactly safe. But that's what I'm trying to understand. If at all someone is in that spot, how do you think they can come out of it? Have you been in a spot like that where you've thought, no, what, Anudeep, you've tried all those things, and now I think you stay where you are. If something good color comes along the way, catch it. If nothing good color comes along the way, just bite your teeth and move on with whatever you can, and then go.
I've definitely had times like that. Um, and that's a dark place to be in. At a very high level, I would divide the world into consumers and producers. You could be producing anything. You could be producing flowers, you could be producing grain, you could be producing ideas, you could be producing books, anything. You could be producing content on social media like you are. And then there are consumers. Up until now, it was okay to be a consumer. That was fine because the world was stacked like that, where human intelligence was still valuable enough that even as a consumer, you're still adding value. If you are stuck in that stage, I think the way out of it is to find out what is something that you can produce. What is something you can create with your own? It doesn't need to be the most innovative thing, but it is something that would not exist if Ashwin was not there. And you continue doing that. And in the process of doing that, you will become a producer. You will like what you produce. And in that process, I believe that you will be rewarded way more than what you put in. That's how society has played out for a long time, right? Like the ones who put in a lot of effort, during the time of putting in the effort, it's a very lonely journey. There aren't any people around you who support you. In fact, they are confused because you are not the person that they're used to. And they pull you down, not because they want to be mean, but because it's uncomfortable. It's like, oh, who are you? Like, this is not you. But it is the people who go through that phase for themselves, some inner compass or whatever they have, that then come out onto the other side. And then people are like, oh, I knew this person was going to make it. You know, um, behind an overnight success, there's like many, many years of really, really difficult times. So to become a producer of that sort, you have to go through that phase. And like even 10,000 years in the future, it is going to be like that. The ones who put in effort, and effort is hard. Modern procrastination is, you know what? Asking an AI, using AI as a thought, like, oh, this is a really good idea. Oh, look, like it's giving me really good feedback, but not doing anything. So, very simple words. The way forward is to act more and think less. Whatever that act is, has to be meaningful and authentic to you. If you find that, somehow you will find a way out in ways that you could not even have imagined that this is what you would be doing. If you don't know anything, I would say start producing content.
Right.
I'm being very serious. Like,
I get it. Yeah.
in the world of AI, where all of the knowledge is kind of averaged out, we what the AI does not know is the three standard deviation out thing, like the non-normal things. We live non-normal lives. So if your thing that is meaningful to you, you start producing content around it, that's a good place to start. Start putting yourself out there, and something will come. Some pattern you will see that you'll be like, oh, interesting. I like as a person who's still kind of in the midst of that, I don't know if there is any other way. The next generation will be easier because they're born into an AI native world. So they will like kind of figure this out like as they go along. But for people like you, me, who are kind of on the cusp, it is effort. If it is not effort, if it is not hard, it's like going to the gym. If you're pulling the same weight that you can always pull, you're not going to grow. You have to push beyond, tear your muscles a little bit, and then when they reconnect is when you become strong. So if something feels easy to you, another, like, either produce content or sit down and ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Go towards the thing that you're afraid of. Life is often about, life grows when you seek what you're scared of and embrace it, because your growth is there.
All those philosophy class and areas that definitely helped you, man. That was really, really well put, and very thought provoking. And yeah, I think we are at the end of our session. It was really great talking to you. I hope our viewers get a little bit or something out of this whole conversation that we've done so far. And all the best to all your future endeavors. Uh, keep following us, keep in touch, and yeah, recollect.
Thank you so much, Ashwin, for this opportunity. This is great. You're a great podcast host. I think you ask nice questions. And I'm looking forward to doing this again.
Definitely, yeah. We should definitely do one more episode before you leave. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
Try